Let's take a moment and really feel this. You're here because something inside you knows, something deep in your soul is stirring. Maybe you can't quite put your finger on it yet, but you feel it a shift. Your life is changing in ways that are subtle, but undeniable. It's like you're standing on the edge of something massive, something that's going to redefine everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world. This is not a coincidence. You're being prepared for a huge ascension, and your soul knows it even if your mind is still catching up. But how can you be sure? What are the signs that you're on the brink of a monumental spiritual awakening? First, let's start with this question. Have you been feeling a sense of disconnection from things that once brought you comfort? This is often one of the first signs. You see, when you're about to ascend, the things that used to feel familiar or bring you joy, whether it's people, places, or even your own habits, start to feel out of sync, almost like they don't fit anymore. It's as though your vibrational frequency is shifting so quickly that the world around you can't quite keep up. The foods you used to love, the conversations you used to enjoy, even the activities that once excited you may feel hollow or distant. This isn't a sign that something is wrong. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It means you're outgrowing the old version of yourself. Imagine a snake shedding its skin. It doesn't mourn the loss of what it's leaving behind. It simply knows that it's time to grow into something bigger, something more expansive. Are you shedding parts of yourself right now? Are you shedding relationships, jobs, or belief systems that no longer serve you? That's because a huge ascension is underway, and it's demanding that you let go of the old to make space for the new.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Now, this process isn't always comfortable. In fact, it can feel downright disorienting. You might feel lost, confused, or even like you're walking through life in a fog. But here's the thing, what if that fog is actually your cocoon? What if the discomfort you're feeling is just your soul's way of preparing you for rebirth? Here's another question for you. Have you been experiencing vivid dreams or strange synchronicities lately? This is a sign that the veil between the physical world and the spiritual realm is thinning for you. Your intuition is becoming heightened, your connection to the unseen world is growing stronger, and your subconscious mind is working overtime to process the massive influx of spiritual energy that's coming your way. Don't dismiss these dreams or synchronicities as mere coincidences. They are signs, clues from the universe that you're tapping into a higher frequency, a higher dimension of consciousness. Think about it. How often have you noticed repeating numbers like 1111, 333, or 555? These aren't just random occurrences. They are messages, signals that your spiritual guides are communicating with you, guiding you through this process of ascension. Each number carries its own vibration, its own meaning, and when they appear in your life with increasing frequency, it's a sign that your consciousness is aligning with a higher reality. But here's the thing, ascension isn't just about spiritual signs and mystical experiences. It's about transformation at the deepest level. You may notice that your body is going through changes as well. Are you feeling more sensitive to energy? Maybe you're easily overwhelmed by loud noises, crowds, or even the emotions of other people. This heightened sensitivity is a sure sign that your energy field is expanding. Your vibration is rising, and as it does, you're becoming more attuned to the subtleties of the energy around you. But with this expansion comes growing pains. You might feel exhausted, like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Ascension isn't just a mental or emotional process, it's physical too. Your body is recalibrating, adjusting to hold more light, more energy, more of your soul's true essence. This can feel draining, but it's important to recognize that this exhaustion isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of growth. So, let me ask you, are you honoring your body during this time? Are you giving yourself the rest, the nourishment, and the grounding you need as you go through these shifts? Because one of the most important things you can do during an ascension is to listen to your body. It's not just your vessel, it's your ally in this process. Your body is receiving and integrating the higher frequencies that are flooding your system, and it needs your support. Another sign that you're on the verge of a huge ascension is a deep and sudden craving for solitude. Maybe you found yourself withdrawing from social situations, feeling the need to be alone more than usual. This isn't because you're becoming antisocial or disconnected, it's because your soul is calling you inward. Ascension requires introspection. It requires you to go within and face the parts of yourself that you've been running from. It's in the quiet moments, the moments of solitude, that the deepest transformations happen. But here's the truth that most people don't talk about. Ascension can be lonely. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. When you're about to ascend, you may feel like you're being pulled away from the people around you, like no one truly understands what you're going through. And that's because they don't. Your journey is unique. You're evolving at a pace that may be faster than those around you, and it can feel isolating. But this isolation is temporary, and it's necessary. It's in this space of solitude that you reconnect with your higher self, with the truth of who you are beyond the limitations of this physical world. So, let me ask you again, are you resisting this call to solitude? Or are you embracing it? Are you allowing yourself the time and space you need to integrate these massive shifts? Or are you trying to distract yourself with the noise of the outside world? Because here's the thing, distraction will only delay your ascension. The more you avoid going inward, the longer it will take for your soul to fully integrate the lessons and energies that are coming to you. And this brings me to one of the most profound signs that you're about to experience, a huge ascension, a deep, undeniable sense that something bigger is coming. You may not know what it is, you may not have all the answers, but there's a knowing inside of you that life as you know it is about to change in ways you can't even begin to imagine. This isn't just hope or wishful thinking, it's the truth of your soul speaking to you, reminding you that you are on the cusp of something extraordinary. Your higher self is guiding you, preparing you for the next level of your spiritual evolution. So, I'll leave you with this question. Are you ready to step into the unknown and embrace the ascension that's calling your name? You've felt it, haven't you? That sense that everything is shifting, but you're not entirely sure what's on the other side. It's like being in a cocoon, tight, uncomfortable, and dark. You're no longer the caterpillar, but you haven't yet emerged as the butterfly. This in-between space can be one of the most challenging parts of ascension, and it's easy to feel lost and overwhelmed by the chaos that comes with it. But here's the thing, the chaos is part of the process. Let me ask you this, how do you handle uncertainty? When everything around you feels like it's falling apart, do you cling to the old familiar structures, or do you surrender to the unknown? Because the truth is, ascension requires you to trust the process, even when it feels like your life is unraveling. And it may feel that way because, in a sense, it is. The old version of you, the version that was limited by fear, doubt, and conditioning, is crumbling. But that's not something to fear. In fact, it's the most liberating experience you'll ever have. Think of it like this: when a house is being renovated, it often looks like a mess before it starts to come together. Walls are knocked down, dust is everywhere, and it can feel like chaos. But that chaos is necessary for the transformation to take place. You're in the middle of that renovation right now. Things are being stripped away, so that something more aligned and beautiful can be built in its place. And just like with a renovation, you can't rush it. There's a divine timing to it all. One of the hardest things to accept during ascension is that you're not in control. The ego wants to control everything. It wants to know exactly what's happening and when. It wants guarantees and certainty. But ascension isn't about control, it's about surrender. It's about trusting that the universe has a plan for you, even if you can't see what that plan is right now. So, let me ask you, how comfortable are you with surrendering control? Can you let go of the need to know every detail and trust that everything is unfolding perfectly, even when it feels like chaos? Because here's the paradox: when you stop trying to control the process, that's when the magic happens. When you surrender, you allow the universe to guide you in ways you couldn't have imagined. You open yourself up to divine intervention, to synchronicities, to miracles. Now, you might be thinking, but how do I surrender when everything feels so chaotic? It's a valid question, and the answer is simpler than you think. You surrender by staying present. The chaos only feels overwhelming when you project yourself into the future or dwell on the past. But right here, in this moment, you are safe. You are exactly where you need to be. The key to navigating the chaos of ascension is to bring yourself back to the present moment over and over again. Each time you feel yourself slipping into fear or doubt, ask yourself, what is true for me right now? Here's another question for you: are you willing to trust that this chaos is leading you to something greater? Because that's exactly what's happening. The old structures are breaking down to make room for something far more aligned with your soul's purpose. You're being stripped of everything that no longer serves you, and while that can feel disorienting, it's ultimately a blessing. The things that are falling away were never truly meant for you. They were part of the old version of you, the version that played small, the version that lived in fear. But you're not that version anymore. You're evolving, and with that evolution comes a shedding of the old. Do you remember the snake shedding its skin that we talked about earlier? Think of this chaos as the final stages of that shedding process. The skin is coming off, but it's still clinging in places. It's uncomfortable, maybe even painful, but it's necessary. You can't step into your new life while still holding onto the remnants of the old one. And this is where trust comes in. Trust that the discomfort is temporary. Trust that the mess is a sign of progress. But more than anything, trust yourself. Trust that you are capable of navigating this ascension, even when it feels chaotic. Because here's the truth: you've been preparing for this your entire life. Every challenge, every lesson, every hardship has been leading you to this moment. The universe wouldn't be guiding you through this ascension if you weren't ready for it. Let me ask you this: what if the chaos isn't something happening to you, but something happening for you? What if this is the universe's way of clearing the path for your highest good? What if everything that's falling apart right now is simply making space for something better? When you start to see the chaos as part of the ascension process, it becomes less scary and more empowering. You realize that you're not a victim of it, you're a participant in it. You're co-creating this transformation with the universe. Now, this doesn't mean that you won't have moments of doubt or fear. It's natural to feel those things when you're going through such a massive shift. But the key is not to let those emotions take over. Acknowledge them, feel them, and then let them go. They are part of the old energy, the energy you're leaving behind. As you ascend, you'll find that fear and doubt have less and less power over you. They may still pop up from time to time, but they won't hold you back the way they used to. You'll move through them with more grace and ease. So, here's the final question for this part. Can you allow yourself to embrace the chaos, knowing that it's leading you to a higher version of yourself? Can you trust that the discomfort, the uncertainty, and the mess are all necessary steps on your path to ascension? Because when you do, you'll find that the chaos isn't something to fear, it's something to celebrate. It's a sign that you're in the middle of a divine transformation, a transformation that will bring you closer to your true self than ever before. So, you've been feeling the chaos, the shedding of the old, and experiencing moments of deep uncertainty. But here's the part that often gets overlooked in the spiritual journey. This chaos is not just an end, it's also a beginning. What's truly happening underneath all of this discomfort is that you're waking up to your soul's purpose. The very reason you incarnated into this life is starting to reveal itself. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you feel a growing sense that there's something more out there for you? Something deeper, something that goes beyond the surface-level concerns of everyday life? That's not just your imagination. As you ascend, you begin aligning more and more with your soul's true calling. And this is powerful because your purpose is not something you need to find out there in the world. It's something that has been woven into the fabric of your being since the moment you were born. Ascension is simply the process of stripping away the layers of conditioning, fear, and doubt that have been obscuring that purpose. Think of your soul's purpose like a seed that was planted long ago. The conditions had to be perfect for it to sprout. You had to experience certain things, challenges, breakthroughs, even failures to prepare the soil of your spirit. Now, during ascension, the seed is finally breaking through the surface. It's starting to grow, and you can feel it. This is why you might be feeling a sense of restlessness or dissatisfaction with things that once felt fulfilling. Your soul is calling you to something higher, something that aligns with who you truly are, not who you've been told to be. Here's the thing: your purpose is not necessarily tied to a job, title, or specific role. It's much deeper than that. It's the unique way your energy interacts with the world. It's how you show up, how you love, how you create, how you serve. And as you ascend, you start to realize that your purpose isn't something you need to chase, it's something you need to remember. It's been inside of you all along. But how do you know that you're aligning with your purpose? One clear sign is that certain things in your life start to fall away. You may lose interest in careers, relationships, or activities that no longer resonate with your evolving energy. This can feel unsettling because for so long, you've identified yourself with these things. But when your soul's purpose starts to awaken, anything that isn't aligned with it will naturally begin to dissolve. It's not that these things were bad or wrong for you, they simply served their purpose. Now, you're being called to something greater. Here's another question for you. Have you noticed a deepening desire to help others or contribute in a meaningful way? This is a common sign that your soul's purpose is coming to the forefront. When you begin to ascend, you naturally shift from a focus on self to a focus on service. This doesn't mean you neglect your own needs or desires, but you start to see that your personal growth is intrinsically linked to the collective growth. You realize that your purpose is not just about you, it's about how you can use your unique gifts and energy to uplift the world around you. Now, this doesn't mean you need to become a healer, a teacher, or a spiritual guide unless that's what you feel called to do. Your purpose could be as simple as bringing more love and compassion into your community, into your family, into your workplace. It could be using your creativity to inspire others or sharing your wisdom in quiet, subtle ways. But one thing is certain: as you ascend, you'll feel an undeniable pull to make a difference, to contribute to something larger than yourself. Let me ask you this: have you started feeling drawn to new interests or passions that seem to come out of nowhere? This is a sign that you're being guided toward your purpose. Often, these new interests are things that align with your soul's blueprint, the unique gifts and talents you came into this world to share. Pay attention to what lights you up, what excites you, what brings you a sense of deep fulfillment. These are clues from your higher self, guiding you toward the path of your true calling. But here's the tricky part. Are you willing to let go of what no longer serves you to fully step into your purpose? Because to align with your soul's calling, you have to be willing to release the things that are out of alignment with it. This can be difficult, especially if you've built a life around these things. But the truth is, you can't take the old with you into the new. The version of you that is ascending is not the same version of you that created those old structures. And that's okay. It's part of the process. As you align with your purpose, you may also find that new opportunities begin to flow into your life with ease. This is not a coincidence. When you're in alignment with your soul's purpose, the universe supports you in ways that feel almost magical. Synchronicities increase, doors open where there were once walls, and you start to feel a sense of flow that was previously missing. This doesn't mean the path will always be easy, but it will feel more right. You'll know you're on the right track because things will start to click into place in ways you couldn't have planned or predicted. Here's one more question to sit with. What would your life look like if you fully trusted your soul's purpose? If you stopped trying to force things and instead allowed your purpose to unfold naturally. Because that's what Ascension is ultimately about. It's about trusting that your soul knows the way, even when your mind doesn't. It's about releasing the need to control every aspect of your journey and surrendering to the higher intelligence that is guiding you. The more you trust this process, the more aligned you become with your true calling. And as you align with your purpose, you'll notice that life begins to flow in ways that are more harmonious, more fulfilling, and more deeply connected to who you truly are. You've come so far. You've felt the discomfort, the shedding, the chaos that comes with Ascension. You've started to awaken to your soul's true purpose, and now you're standing at the threshold of a new reality. But here's the thing about Ascension: it's not a one-time event. It's a continual process of growth, alignment, and evolution. So the question now becomes, how do you sustain this new level of consciousness? How do you live in alignment with your higher self, not just for a moment, but for the rest of your life? First, let me ask you, what does alignment mean to you? Because living in alignment doesn't just mean following a spiritual routine or practicing mindfulness occasionally. It's about integrating your spiritual awareness into every aspect of your life. It's about living in a way that reflects your highest truth, your deepest values, and your soul's purpose. And this requires a different way of being, a different way of moving through the world. One of the first steps to sustaining your ascension is to cultivate awareness. This means becoming deeply conscious of your thoughts, emotions, and actions at all times. It's easy to get caught up in the momentum of life and slip back into old habits, old thought patterns. But living in alignment means catching yourself in those moments and choosing differently. It means asking yourself, is this thought, is this action, is this feeling in alignment with the highest version of myself? This is where the practice of mindfulness becomes so important. You can't sustain your ascension if you're constantly operating on autopilot. You need to be present, deeply aware of what's happening within you and around you. This doesn't mean you need to live in a state of hypervigilance, but it does mean becoming more intentional with how you spend your time, who you spend it with, and what you allow into your energy field. Let me ask you another question. Who are you surrounding yourself with? As you ascend, your vibration rises, and not everyone in your life will rise with you. That's not a judgment, It's just a fact of spiritual evolution. Some people will stay where they are, and that's okay. But for you to sustain your ascension, you need to be mindful of the energy you're surrounding yourself with. If you're constantly around people who are stuck in lower vibrations, fear, doubt, negativity, it will be much harder for you to maintain your alignment. This doesn't mean you need to cut everyone out of your life, but it does mean setting boundaries. You have to protect your energy as you ascend, because your energy is your most valuable asset. It's what allows you to stay in alignment with your soul's purpose. So ask yourself, are the people in my life supporting my growth, or are they holding me back? Are my relationships aligned with the highest version of myself, or are they keeping me tethered to the past? Another key to sustaining your ascension is self-care. And I don't just mean the typical self-care practices like taking a bath or getting enough sleep, although those things are important. I'm talking about spiritual self-care. Are you taking the time to nurture your soul? Are you connecting with your higher self on a daily basis? Whether it's through meditation, journaling, spending time in nature, or simply taking a few moments each day to tune in, this connection is crucial. Without it, it's easy to get lost in the external world and forget the spiritual truths you've worked so hard to embody. Living in alignment also means trusting the flow of life. One of the biggest challenges after an ascension is the temptation to fall back into old patterns of control. You might feel like you need to have everything figured out, to plan every step of the way. But here's the truth: you don't need to control everything. In fact, trying to control the process will only lead to resistance. Trust that the universe has your back. Trust that you are being guided, even when things don't make logical sense. Ask yourself, how much of your life are you still trying to control? Can you let go of the need to have all the answers and trust that everything is unfolding in perfect timing? Because when you live in alignment, you're not just living from the mind, you're living from the soul. You're allowing your inner guidance to lead the way, even when it feels uncertain. Finally, sustaining your ascension means embracing continuous growth. Ascension is not a destination, it's a journey. There will always be new levels to reach, new lessons to learn, and new layers of yourself to uncover. So don't get too comfortable. Don't think that just because you've ascended once, the work is done. The work is never done. But that's the beauty of it. There's always more to discover, always more to evolve into. So, here's my final question for you. Are you willing to keep growing, to keep expanding, even when it's uncomfortable? Because living in alignment with your ascension means embracing the unknown, welcoming the challenges, and trusting that each step forward is bringing you closer to the highest version of yourself. In the end, ascension is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about living from your truth, moment by moment, day by day. And when you do that, when you commit to living in alignment with your soul's purpose, you'll not only sustain your ascension, you'll thrive in ways you never thought possible. You'll become the embodiment of your highest self, and your life will be a reflection of the divine energy that flows through you. Living in alignment with your ascension means embracing the unknown, trusting the flow of life, and nurturing your connection with your higher self. It means letting go of control and allowing your soul's purpose to guide you. This path isn't always easy, but it's one of profound growth and self-realization. So as you move forward, remember, ascension is not a destination, but a continuous evolution. Embrace each moment, each lesson, and each step of the journey. Trust that the universe has your back, and know that you are becoming the embodiment of your highest potential. Stay present, stay aligned, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never imagined possible.